Milenkovich cycles are periodic effects of Earth's orbit around the Sun that affect Earth's climate, the net of which can explain Earth's stages of glaciation. These effects include Earth's changing eccentric orbit, which varies from circular to mildly eccentric over a period of 413,000 years. Number 2, axial tilt nodding, which varies by a few degrees over 41,000 years. Number 3, axial retrograde precession, which occurs on a period of 25,771.5 years. Apsidal precession of orbital ellipse over 112,000 years. And number 5, orbital inclination of a few degrees over a period of 70,000 years. Now, Milenkovich was studying the stages of glaciation on the Earth, and he noticed this repeating effect. And he wanted to understand why this effect repeated over time. And he was able to come up with 3 reasons why they occurred. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. The combination of these 3 periods can explain the gross changes, the periodic changes in the stages of glaciation. Number 1 was Earth's eccentric orbit, which varied from circular to eccentric, back to circular, on a period of 413,000 years. Number 2 of what Milenkovich noticed was the nodding of the Earth's rotation axis, which varied by a few degrees over 41,000 years. Sometimes the axis would be tilted 22.1 degrees, sometimes it would be as far as 24.5 degrees, and then it would go back to 22.1 degrees. So the period to go from 22.1 to 24.5 back to 22.1 was a period of 41,000 years. The third thing that Milenkovich noticed that affected Earth's stages of glaciation was Earth's axis of retrograde precession, which precessed over a period of 25,771.5 years. If you take a look at the precession, Earth's rotation axis doesn't always point to Polaris. It's going to swing to Thurbin, it's going to swing to Vega, and it's going to swing back around to Polaris in a period of 25,771 years. These 3 periods that keep repeating can explain the big changes in the stages of glaciation. 2 other items have been added since Milenkovich studied these effects, and the 4th one that was added was apsidal precession of the orbital ellipse over 112,000 years. What was noticed is that as Earth orbits around the Sun, the direction of the orbit changes in the direction of orbital motion. It's called prograde precession. So it's precessing in the direction of orbital motion with a period of 112,000 years. And the last thing that was noticed was the orbital inclination, which varies by a few degrees over 70,000 years. As Earth orbits around the Sun, it traces out this ecliptic. But not always will the ecliptic keep repeating on this red line. Sometimes when the Earth goes around the Sun, it swings high, so the inclination angle is a little bit higher than usual. And sometimes when the Earth goes around the Sun, it swings low by a few degrees. This inclination change of a few degrees occurs over 70,000 years. So you combine all 5 effects or changes in the period as Earth orbits around the Sun, and you can explain the features on the stages of glaciation and the repeating effect, which we call the Milenkovich cycle.